I sat in every bench in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Here's what I learned. So, our journey starts off in Postwick, where I stumble around the house looking for anything to sit in. However, it turns out, despite this house having chairs, a couch, you start off on a couch, yet you cannot sit back down on the couch. It is only exists for a cutscene. You can't sit in it. And throughout the playthrough, you'll see there's a lot of just these objects you'd think you'd be able to sit in, like couches and chairs, that you just can't. Not even the bed. You can't even lay down in the bed. So I had to leave home and search for some more benches to sit in. I then follow Hop to go to Leon, and on the way to Leon, there's actually 2 benches outside of the train station, and all I can think is I want to sit on those benches, but the game won't let you. It forces you to go along with Hop and Leon, and Hop then calls me over to get my starter. I choose Sobbles because he's the first one there, and I just wanted to get it over with real quick because, the real goal of this journey, this adventure, is to find benches, and, as far as I can tell, none of these 3 starter Pokemon are benches that I can sit on, so we don't want any of that. So after being strolled along to the professor's lab and talking to Sonia, we pretty much leave the building and run straight to the benches, sit down, and wow, what a view. 2 benches outside of the train station, and this is just a place where you want to put a bench. Being able to sit in these benches really made me feel at home. I just really felt, the weight of the world that I was in, and I could really fully express myself by sitting on these benches, knowing that I'm a Pokemon trainer in the Pokemon world sitting on a bench. Really just warmed your heart. So far the bench counter is at 2 benches, remember that. Now, after stumbling around town looking for any kind of bench I can sit on, I even looked inside houses and buildings, as you can see here. I finally found inside the train station there were 2 more sets of chairs that I'm pretty sure are just retextured benches, which I thought was very interesting. They are blue, you can sit in them, there's a guy sitting next to you in one of them too, and I just thought that was really cool. I like the details of just having benches in these train stations. Anyway, moving on. After stumbling around town some more and with no luck in sight, I decided to move on to Route 2. However, I believe I encountered some kind of bug or glitch with my Rookity. It came out some weird color, this weird yellow color. I caught it, but I don't really know what's wrong with it. Maybe it's sick. If anyone in the comments knows what's going on, just tell me. Anyway, moving on, we make our way all the way to the lab, this little lab house by the lake, and you might have noticed there is a bench just sitting there waiting to be sat in, and I excitedly, approached the bench and gave it a good whirl, took a look at the lake, felt very immersed. I think that puts us at 5 benches, and let's see what other benches await us. Being so inspired by that bench, I saw a bubbling spot in the water, and I just decided, hey, you know what? Let's go catch, whatever lives here. This will be one of my bench Pokemon. And I found Magikarp, so I caught it and named it my friend, and yeah, now we're on our way to become bench masters. Now that pretty much completes the Postwick section of the game. Now we'll be moving on to the wild area. Outside the train station here, well, inside the building, there are 2 benches, 2 more benches for me to sit on, and yeah, they're pretty much just like the other ones in Postwick, which was nice. Pretty comfy room, a lot of people in here, and then we get to move on to the wild area. Now, the wild area does not have any benches in it, at least from what I've walked so far. I know there's more later to explore in the wild area, and I'll take a thorough look just like I've been taking a thorough look through everything in this game so far. But yeah, no benches in here. However, you know, we got this Motostoke city. We'll have to take a look and see how many benches there are in that city, and let's go right in. Hey, come here, man. Come here. Take my toy out. You know, you're just a nuisance. You're a real nuisance. You're a nuisance. Now, starting out, you might be surprised to hear there aren't any benches in this section of Motostoke. I tried to get past these guys that blocked the way, and I had to follow Sonia around looking for anything to sit on. Even the Onyx that pops in, you know, you'd think maybe you could sit on Onyx's tail, but nope. Just nowhere to put myself and rest. Very disappointing so far. However, Motostoke has a lot of benches in store for us, but we'll have to wait until we get to the bench section of the city. So finally, after that long, lengthy sequence in the stadium, we arrive at the hotel, only to find there are couches, but no benches. And, you know, there's some Team Yell grunts, but, you know, they don't really tell you how to sit on these couches here. I tried everything I could, but no, there's nothing you can do. You can't sit in these, unfortunately. I then investigated the upstairs of the hotel. There were some, you know, beds, but there were just nothing you can sit in, nothing up here, unfortunately. You know, I tried to investigate every corner I can, but there was nothing to sit in here as well. Now, I actually ran past these 4 benches, but you'll see me come back later, and I'll show you me sitting on them. Just outside the station, there's 2 benches to sit on, and they look lovely, especially right next to this bush. And if you walk in, there are actually 3 benches, you know, the chairs, just like from before, and 1 up here. And I think that this room is quite lovely. There's a few more in the game just like this. It's a little more unique compared to the other train station from before. But yeah, it's a real nice room, and the benches do look quite comfy, and I would love to sit down in this room. Before we move on, I actually wanted to mention there are actually benches just outside of the range. It looks like there are 2 different benches where you're not able to go, so you cannot sit in those benches, so we're not going to be counting them. But I just wanted to note, you know, there are benches that are inaccessible to the player here, and I really wonder if you could go out of bounds, if it would be possible to actually sit on them. Moving on, coming down here, past Simple, however you say that, there is a blue bench. This is a brand new bench that we have not seen before throughout this journey, with Amanda Buzz sitting on a perch. And I just thought this was really unique. And yeah, I really enjoyed this bench, especially with it being next to the water. And then after that bench, there are 2 more similar benches to the Mandibuzz bench with a lamppost. There's also little flags. I really like that. And it's just a welcoming community here in Motostoke, full of wonderful benches to sit on. And yeah, I just like this little waterway walk through, sidewalk, however you want to put it. But yeah. Like, oh my god, there's 4 benches here! I just know, oh my god, they're like secret benches. Oh my god, I totally missed this. Holy shit. Let's talk to this guy. Does he know anything about the bench? So yeah, I totally missed these 4 benches earlier, but now that we have them, yeah, they're just nice to sit in. I think they really add to the scenery. The wooden benches from before, the first 3 benches that we sat in. And yeah, I think that pretty much sums up all the benches in Motostoke. So that will put us at 13 total benches so far in Sword and Shield. And now it's time to move on to the next location, to find some more benches to sit in. Hey guys, don't tell Thomas that I poisoned this soup. So, moving on, my stupid yellow bird evolves into a bigger stupid yellow bird. Once again, tell me in the comments what this glitch might be called. But yeah, there's just no real benches moving forward. This route here and the cave, just a whole lot of nothing. I mean, some sparkly stuff, but who cares about that, right? But yeah, you know, by the time we reach the next town, we'll start seeing some benches. Now, arriving, we discover 2 benches behind Sonia. However, we have to get through a Sonia cutscene. Yeah, this one goes out to Joe Merrick. After shouting out Joe Merrick, I promptly sit in the 2 benches overlooking the, what I think is supposed to be, Dynamaxed Meltan, a Gigantamaxed? Whatever it is. I remember all the speculation back when these games were coming out, but yeah, you know, pretty iconic shot, liked overlooking this hill, and, yeah, it's pretty much up there. These benches are pretty high tier. This will bring our bench total up to 15 benches so far. After scouring the town for benches, we didn't find any benches to sit on, unfortunately, but we decide to you know, go after the gym badge. After that, that's how we gotta progress in the game. The gym was pretty easy, just as much as you expect. You know, it's just me and Thomas mostly the whole time. He's still yellow, but yeah. Anyway, we get the badge and we walk out and continue on to our journey to sit on more benches. We get to the next route, and there is just no benches in sight. I actually really thought, on the bridge that there would be a bench to sit in, but no, there's no benches on these bridges. Which I found a little disappointing, but there was a hop fight. And yeah, you know, that's pretty much that. Anyway, on to Hullbury. Go get the ball. Lazy fish. You lazy fish. I love you. So finally, arriving at Hullbury, I walked all around town. In fact, these little picnic benches you cannot sit in either. I know that's a new asset, but yeah, no ability to sit down in them. I searched every single house. No couches you can sit on. TVs, but they don't really tell you what's on TV. There are people in the houses, but there was a house with a woman telling me about whoopers, and I learned what a female and male whooper look like next to each other. Just something I really never considered before, and I thought that was an interesting fact. So just outside that house, there is the station, and the station does have a bench for you to sit in. Now, the mood of Hullbury isn't really something that I can get behind, but, you know, those of you in the audience that are really into the Hullbury atmosphere might really enjoy this bench. And once again, inside the train station, there are 2 benches that you can sit on, which is nice to know, and very comfortable. Now, right next to Nessa is the toxicity bench, which I like to call them. There's 2 benches right next to Nessa overlooking the port, and these ones are also very, you know, brown, made of wood. And that would bring our bench total up to 20, if I can count correctly. So I brought my team to go fight Nessa, which, you know, wasn't too difficult either. You know, Thomas being a pain in the neck as usual. You know, I really love my friend, you know, my Magikarp. I just love him, and I really hope he doesn't turn into some kind of grotesque sea monster. That would really just sour my mood, and maybe even make me like Thomas a little more, even though he's yellow. After wrapping that up, we go through this cave with no benches. There are little water areas I'll come back to just to go check out to make sure, see if I missed a bench or 2. We wouldn't want to have that happening. Yeah, and I fought some excited grunts in a cave. Really strange place to have a fight like that. But, yeah, I mean, we made it through the cave. There was no benches out there either. I wish I asked those Team Yell grunts if they knew any benches around here, but sadly, just no benches in sight. And that means I have to go fight the third gym leader as well. On my way through the fire gym, I did see these Pokemon that looked pretty warm, and I thought maybe they could warm some of the benches that we'll be sitting in. And I thought that would be nice, so I caught a Vulpix, a Litwick, and a Scentiscorch. Oh god, he's ugly. Now, finally getting to Kabuki, I had a little trouble, but luckily my friend evolved and became stronger at a sacrifice of his looks. That beautiful Carp-U Magikarp friend Magikarp bench that I caught on a bench. But yeah, we just kind of spammed Waterfall and won, which was nice. And now we'll be moving on to the wild area. Let's see what that has in store for us. I hope there's some benches. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Come here. Come here. Oh, you love this thing, don't you? Yeah, you do. Get out of here, Thomas. Playing with my friend. So yeah, as you'd expect, there's just no benches in this place. I scoured through the whole thing. I really thought there might be like a bench lying around here, maybe in front of the daycare or something, but nah, no benches. You know, I looked around. I'm not sure if there's benches in the DLC wild areas. I'll have to look. I feel like there is in that one town in this Crown Tundra, but you know, I might have to check that for another video. But yeah, you know, I want to use this time maybe to reflect on the experience so far. You know, I've played this game several times. I really didn't like it when it came out, but nowadays it's really just it's an average Pokemon game. It doesn't do too much special. But that's kind of what I like about it. You know, it's just a traditional Pokemon experience on the Switch, which, you know, the Switch didn't have at the time of its release, and yeah, I mean, it's not too ambitious like Scarlet and Violet was. It's just a Pokemon game on the Switch. I know this wild area doesn't look too great, but the rest of the game, you know, it really does it looks alright, and it's not too offensive. But yeah, you know, on to Hammerlocke to find some more benches to sit in. I should link Joe Merrick's Twitter page. So now, in Hammerlocke, I explore the town looking for benches to sit in. I go inside all the houses. I found this Rookity chick with a house full of Rookities. I thought that was cute. You know, I think these houses, you know, there's character inside them. I also saw this little girl asking me to deliver a letter. I'll try to remember that. And also, inside of the station, this is another station similar to the Motostoke one, a big one with 4 benches and 2 inaccessible benches to the right that you're not able to go to because they're out of bounds. So if anyone knows an out of bounds glitch, let me know. And yeah, that's brings our bench total to 24. Moving on, I actually found this house with a guy in it named Mr. Focus, which I've never seen before. He has like a level 2 Cottony with a Focus Sash, and you'll use Endeavor, bringing your Pokemon to 1 HP, which I thought was really cute. I'm noticing this game does have quite a bit of character in it, which I'm really enjoying. But now it's time to look for some more benches to the next city. Moving on to Route 6, I discover how to stop time. I remember when this game came out, people making jokes like Zawaldo. Is this a JoJo's reference? Jokes like that. Anyway, no benches to be found here, just a lot of grass and Pokemon, and trainers to boot. I think a bench up on the top of the route would have looked really nice, however, yeah, no benches here. Now, believe it or not, in the next city, As we see here, there are no benches to be found. There is not a single bench in this city. I actually thought that there would be some benches towards, once again, the top with that mural. But yeah, explored every nook and cranny of the city. Nothing in any of the houses. We ended up fighting the gym, which went really well. Thomas, I'm really starting to appreciate him. Despite being yellow, he's a real hardworking fellow, as you might have heard from the Bee movie. However, he is not a bee, and he's very much a bird. This has nothing to do with the birds and the bees. And yeah, I'm really starting to come around on Thomas, despite his coloring. Yeah, let's move on to Glimwood Tangle. Should have named him Big Bird. Man, it's really dark in here. I sure hope I don't get jumped by anything. But yeah, I mean, there's no benches either. It's just a lot of darkness and no benches to kind of lighten up the mood, which is really unfortunate. There are Pokemon that will come jump at you. I learned the hard way. But, yeah, no benches. Really wish there really could have been a nice bench next to, like, a nice bright mushroom, illuminating the night. I think that would have looked really nice, but no. Then moving on to the city, or town, more like, there's, inside one of the buildings, there's a man who you can give the letter to that the little girl gives you. And yeah, it seemed like there's some sort of like story going on here with this guy knowing this girl maybe when she was little, and I checked back in Hammerlocke and she was gone. So I believe this is supposed to be the ghost girl of this game, because if you don't know, just about every Pokemon game has a ghost girl story, which I think is a really nice touch, and I'm glad I noticed it this time around. Because yeah, I've never noticed that before, and I thought that was like a really cool detail. Anyway, yeah, no benches here either, which is really sad to say. I was really hoping that there could have been a nice bench. Again, with the mushroom idea, it really would have set the mood, but yeah, no benches here. We go fight the gym, get the badge, just as expected. And yeah, I guess me and Thomas are kind of buddies now. We're kind of best friends. That's all there is to say about that. Let's head back to Hammerlocke and go look for some more benches. What are you doing? Go back to where you came from. Thomas, show him what you got. So, after doing a bunch of nonsense in Hammerlocke, I cross the bridge and fight Hop, and make my way over to the sort of weird random desert route right before a icy area. It's a really weird geography environment in this region, but a lot of every Pokemon region's like that. Yeah, it has the time stop ladders full of bull doors, but no benches. And at this point in the playthrough, I feel so thirsty, just dry. I haven't seen any benches since Hammerlocke, and I'm desperate for anything. And coming up, all I can do is pray that I'll be able to sit in the bench, because I am just desperate at this point. I need somewhere to sit down. I am so tired, and oh my god, what's this? 1 bench, 2 bench, 3 bench, 4 bench, 5 bench, 6 benches right in front of the gym. Absolutely just, wow. Wow, there were so many benches in this city, and we're not even done yet. I actually tried to sit next to this young couple here, however they would not let me join them, and I asked if I could, sit down next to them. They wouldn't let me, and there's no prompt to sit there, which was unfortunate, but I thought I'd, mention I try. And if you come on down to the middle of the city, you'll see 3 benches right next to the, just the city center, with the snow coming down. This city is just lovely. But yeah, that's 9 benches in this city, and it's like, that is the most amount of benches there are in a city in this entire game so far, and it's really something. It's really a sight to behold. I was thankful, you know, I felt so dry after going like 2 different towns and no benches, just to finally be able to sit somewhere. Thankfully, it was a good time. And you know, exploring these towns, looking at all these buildings, looking for anywhere to sit down at, I really was able to appreciate just the amount of, you know, there's a lot of copy and pasted rooms, sure, but I actually found the Game Freak office in the hotel to the left, and on the right, there was actually a little event, a little story thing, involving a Pokemon eating the berries, and you have to like solve the mystery, and I just thought that was so cute. I really appreciated that. I like when Game Freak puts stuff like this in the Pokemon games, and being able to experience them was just a real nice time. If you take one thing from this video, please let it be to go out when you're playing a JRPG. Go in all the buildings, talk to people, see what they say, look at the funny dialogue, or you know, find maybe a helpful, unique, rare item. Yeah, I mean that's probably like the biggest piece of trivia you could take from this video, is that it's always good to explore. Exploring, you always get rewarded for exploring, unless you're playing a bad game where you don't get rewarded for that. Also, side note, the hair salons, you sit down to get your hair done. So I will not be counting this as a bench. However, it is a chair that you can sit in through a cutscene, not in gameplay. You cannot sit in them normally. But yeah, I thought that was like that was something I should mention, and some people might point out in the comments, so I thought I'd go ahead and bring it up now. I found out back in Motostoke, but I forgot to add it until now, so here I am doing that now, just so you know. Now again, we got another boring gym fight, no benches in here. Really cold, actually. Should have brought a jacket, but they force you to wear this sort of sports tee, so I guess you have no other choice but to suffer from the cold. It's a good thing Pokemon don't take damage from the cold. Oh wait, they do. It's called hail. Although I guess that's the hail coming down, raining upon them, hurting their head. I mean, hey, you know, you gotta put on a rocky helmet to protect you from the hail, but that doesn't work either, because you still take damage even though you have a rocky helmet on. I don't know why I'm still talking. We get the badge. Talk to Sonia. Sonia's on about something about dogs. Hop wants to fight, whatever. We do that, you know, and I'm just thinking, I hope I get to sit on a bench soon. We make our way down to the sort of icy water section, and pick up the bike, which lets us check out a lot more areas that were locked off from before in the game, but now we can traverse over water, which lets us go explore more. I will be taking a look and checking to see if there's benches in those areas later, but however, right now we're gonna focus on getting to Spikemuth, and talking to Marnie, and then eventually, you know, fighting her brother, and going through the hallway of a town that is Spikemuth. No idea why they designed it like that, but yeah. While I head through this hallway, I would like to shout out Joe Merrick of Cerebi. He has an excellent website full of Pokemon information. You might have heard of him. And I didn't really use it very much during this video, but, you know, I just want to tell everyone about Cerebi, because Cerebi is such a great website, and I love Joe Merrick. Shout out to Joe Merrick. Now, finally, we make it to the gym leader, Pierre's, who's Marnie's brother. Now, something that's always really bothered me about this scene is that his mic will make noise despite the fact there's no voice acting. There's no... He's lip syncing, his mouth is moving, but he's not actually... There's no words coming out. And now we had a musical gym leader before in Gen 5, Black and White 2, Roxy, who would go E-O-K-E-F-O-O-K, Pokemon. Love that, right? But Pierre's just he can't even do that, and the mic will have sounds coming from it as if he's speaking. I really think this game was supposed to have voice acting or something, but they just didn't have the time. I don't know. I always just thought the scene was really weird, almost like uncomfortable weird. But yeah, that's not a bench, and there's no benches here. I wish I could ask Pierre's if he knew about any benches in this city, and just so like we could just take a stroll, maybe hold my hand. Anyway, onwards to more benches. Well, well, well. What do we have here? I totally missed a bench. I guess I thought I'd want to point out this awkward scene where Leon defeats a Gigantamax or maybe Dynamax Pokemon off screen. You don't get to see it, and there's just this big hole here that was probably already here before, but you weren't allowed to go here because I think Team Yell Grunts were blocking the way. I just wanted to point it out because I always just thought this was funny. So after doing that, we go to Raihan. We fight his little friends. Thomas and my friend all, come together in this sort of double battle format to defeat Raihan. It goes very well. It's about with these two have come such a long way, and I'm just so happy and proud that we managed to defeat the last gym leader. And now, my friends, we head off to Windon, where benches await what I assume is a bench-filled paradise. And right from the get-go, there are 2 benches in this room. Train station room, kind of like before. Very simple, love to see it. Very welcoming. We step outside into the cold, you'll see 2 frozen wooden benches that you can sit on. And all I can do is just imagine sipping hot coffee off those benches. Not off the benches, but like while sitting on the bench. You don't want to eat benches. They probably don't taste very good. I wouldn't recommend it. This is not a bench eating video. This is a bench sitting video. And yeah, very lovely benches in the cold here. So after trekking my way through all the snow with my boys, my friend and Thomas and those other bench warmers, we traveled all the way to Windon. And ho boy, wow, so many benches. I mean, where do I even start? Come on, you guys, it's time for a group hug. We're gonna have group hug sesh, come on. So we start off with a bench, not 1, but 2 benches to the left of the city, next to the telephone box that you might recall a Team Pokemon League staff hiding in. And yeah, you get a whole view seeing a lot of the advertisements, just the artwork that they put on the TV screens here in Galar. And I actually really like this. I thought it was a really neat detail, and I was glad to get a better view of it from this bench. It's hard to get a nice view normally, but from the bench, you see the ads scrolling across, and it's beautiful. I love to see it. Then continuing on, I investigate a lot of the buildings for, no benches to sit in, just as expected. But if we move up here, right next to the Big Badu Inn Hotel, there are 2 benches. There's 1 bench that gives you a view of the hotel, and, it looks just as big as you'd expect. Looks great. However, there is a hidden bench, if you look upwards, that you might not pay attention to right away, but I was lucky enough to find this, and thankfully I did not embarrass myself by not finding this. But yeah, there you go. There's a hidden bench right above the first bench. It does not give you the camera view to see Badu Inn Hotel, but yeah, it's a bench and you can sit in it, and I think it's great. Now next we reach the Windon station, and guess how many benches there are in here? I'll let you comment down below if you want to guess. But here, I'll spoil the answer. There are 6 entire benches in a single room in this game. And with a completely unique asset, these sort of black benches that we had before in the other stations, they were blue, but these ones are like black colored, and I just think I was just really surprised that they had that lying around to color it black, and yeah, I think it looks really nice. This whole room looks really nice. I'd love to like order some food and sit on a bench, play with Thomas a little bit, maybe even my friend. And yeah, if you walk down the stairs, you'll see the final bench. It's very comfortable to sit in, and you get a nice view of the people leaving the train and coming in, which is a really nice thing to see. And unfortunately, I did not see any out-of-bound benches like we did in the other terminals, but, you know, you always gotta look, and I would love to mention if there were, but there aren't any in sight. So I thought I'd mention that. So immediately after walking outside that, if you head over to the right, you'll see 3 benches in the park. Nice wooden benches, you get a nice view of the shrubbery. Some dark trees, some light green trees that match the grass color, with some lamppost overhead, so you can imagine what a nighttime scene might look like in the light of the night, or the darkness of the light of the night of the dark and the night. If you move upwards, you'll see 2 people battling, presumably a father and a daughter, with benches to watch, to sit in while you watch them battle. I think that's a cool touch. I think it really fills in this park space, these benches. It was definitely an excellent choice to include benches in the park. And moving on to the last section of benches, there are just so many benches lined up across this river. You can see the camera will turn and you will see the sights that the benches are facing, and you'll see a lot more of Windon in the city, as well as the river. And I think this entire sidewalk is just amazing, and an excellent detail that Game Freak added to the world of benches, which is why we're all playing this game, is to sit on benches and just have this row of benches. This is the biggest row of benches in the entire game. Just sit in each and every one of them. Just wow. I mean, I'm happy that this is here and that this exists. It's kind of hidden, it's a little out of the way, but when you go back and play Sword and Shield, make sure to check this area out, because I find it quite interesting. Now, we're not done yet, because if you turn this bike around, you'll see an entire different angle for that pathway that we just walked. You can see the sights again and sit on all of the benches, see the Ferris wheel, the big battle tower, and the Pokemon Stadium tournament champion place, and you just see it all, even the river and the benches. It's a real heartwarming sight. Turning this bike around just really put it into perspective of what Game Freak could achieve by just changing the camera angle when you approach it differently. I think that's one benefit that this game has, where you don't have a turnable camera, but you get this cinematic view of this bench boardwalk. And yeah, that's about that. That's pretty much all the benches in Windon. I checked in all the other houses. I checked the Pokemon tournament place, and yeah, nothing to sit on, is what I would say if I hadn't gone over to the battle tower. Wow, the amount of benches here, I can hardly count. You can sit on all of these benches, and they're laid out throughout the entire grounds of the battle tower. I don't know why Game Freak decided to put all these benches here, but it was a good idea, because I think it really paid off, because you can sit on all of these benches. I'm sure all of you in the audience out here have sat at least one of these benches because there's just so many. How could you not? I know I will be sitting on these benches every time I come here because there's nothing more satisfying than sitting down and just taking a look at this huge tower that has been erected from the ground, and knowing, you know, you've conquered that tower throughout the story, and maybe if you did all the battles in it, you put that work in. But yeah, I don't know. I love these benches. It really warms the heart to see how many benches they've put in this game. And I also wanted to mention these benches are a little unique in which you can sit on 2 different areas of the bench, but you cannot do that in any other bench in the game. And I just wanted to mention that, so if you want a little trivia fun fact, there you go. Did I mention this city has a lot of benches? Because there are benches in the waiting room, which only is available during the story, I'm pretty sure. I tried doing this on my later file, where I tried to actually get into the room, but you can't. There's no way to get into the room. But there's also these seats. There are these seats that you can sit in that definitely aren't benches, but I'm pretty sure these are the individual chairs besides the hair salon chair in which you can just sit in. Now the hair salon chair, that's that's mid-animation, right? You can't sit in it normally. But these ones, there's singular chairs that you can sit in, that they sort of hid away in this very rare room. Yeah, I guess I just wanted to mention that. Yeah, you can sit in all of them. There's little lights. Very, very intriguing stuff here. So, after doing the math, there are 13 benches in that waiting room. There are 16 around the battle tower. There are 6 lined up by the river. There are 7 in the park. There's 6 in the station. And there's 4 just kind of on the streets of Windon, adding up to 52 benches, which gives us a grand total of 86 benches. And that is all the benches in Pokemon Sword and Shield, the base game. And just because I'm feeling nice, I'll throw in a little bonus, some extra bonus content for you guys since you watched through all 42 minutes of this video. There are extra benches in the DLC. If you go to the Crown Tundra, you can go to the Crown Tundra station and sit on the 2 benches there. And there's also 2 benches in the Isle of Armor DLC station that you can sit on that are actually a yellow color, which is unique. And even if you head into the Isle of Armor dojo, there is a couch you can sit on, and you can see that one Pokemon game they released that one time. I think it was like free or something. I don't know. I played it for a little bit. It was like okay. But yeah, that's on the TV. You can sit down and watch it. Very nice. And now that brings our grand total up to 91 total benches in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I am finally done. I have been doing this for so long. It took a while, but the journey was fun. I grew along with my Pokemon, and I really I feel good satisfaction, sitting on all those benches, journeying all that way, to go sit down on some benches in Windon. They should call it, Benchton, if you know what I mean. Yeah, benches. But seriously, everyone, thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you made it this far into the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. I plan on making longer videos like this in the future, perhaps about how many TVs are in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Believe it or not, there aren't any other Pokemon games on the Switch that have benches that you can sit in. I already checked out Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee and Scarlet and Violet, and I don't think there's a lot of benches you could sit in if you can in Pokemon Legends Arceus, but who knows. But I'll come up with another like long sort of styled content where I just run around and look for something to do. Mario Kart World is coming out very soon, and I'll be playing that on the channel when that comes out. So you can expect some nice videos on that. But yeah, you know, feel free to subscribe if you want to see more, and thank you for watching. I really sat in 91 benches today, huh? Also, there's this cute little design if you look at the clock tower here. This little spinning design. I actually really like it. I just wanted to mention that before I go. Alright, bye everyone.